Friends, one of the largest contributors of greenhouse gases in the world is the transportation sector, and in some countries, it is the largest contributor. As you can see, that in the US, the transportation sector is responsible for 28% of all the emissions. And if you zoom in on the transportation sector, then you will notice that cars are responsible for 59% emissions, buses and trucks for 23% emissions, and the third major contributor is aircrafts or aviation industry. Like most other human activities which involve combustion, aviation industry also releases a whole lot of greenhouse gases and contributes to the acceleration of global warming as well as climate change. And this environmental impact of aviation industry is the topic of our discussion today. The environmental impact of aviation occurs because aircraft engines emit noise and particles and gases such as carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, sulfur oxide, and lead and black carbon. And as you know, all of these harm the atmosphere. Globally, 4.3 billion air passengers flew in 2018, and during the same year, global commercial airline operations emitted 918 million tons CO2. Out of these, 747 million tons came from passenger transport, and 171 million tons belong to freight operations. And the emissions produced by the aviation industry amounted to 2.4% of all the CO2 emissions emitted throughout the world. Although aviation industry emits much less greenhouse gases than other modes of transport, the problem with it is that it is growing very fast. Today civil aviation is so common and so many people fly every year that it is important to do something to lower its impact on the environment. Despite more fuel efficient and less polluting turbofan and turboprop engines, despite more efficient airframes and better aerodynamics, the emissions from air travel and air freight are going up every year simply because the global air passenger traffic is growing. From 1992 to 2005, passenger kilometers increased by 5.2% every year. And this kind of growth is nullifying the efficiencies achieved by the better technology. For example, in Europe, the average airline fuel consumption per passenger in 2017 was 24% less than in 2005. But because the traffic grew by 60%, the CO2 emissions were up by 16%. Similarly, during past couple of years, the civil aviation industry in India has emerged as one of the fastest growing industries in our country. Simultaneously, our country has become the third largest domestic aviation market in the whole world. According to Directorate General of Civil Aviation, India had 13.9 crore domestic air travelers in 2018, which was almost 19% more compared to the number in 2017. Goes without saying, even though the airlines are streamlining their operations and employing better aircrafts, the impact of aviation industry is growing on the environment. And with most airlines running frequent flyer programs, the aviation sector is likely to stay a fast-growing industry. Globally, the airlines are expected to carry almost 10 billion people by 2040, which means, on an average, every living person on Earth at that time will be flying at least once every year. There are two distinctions which we must note at this stage. First of all, the international flights cause more emissions than the domestic ones. In 2010, almost 60% of aviation emissions came from the international flights. And the second distinction is that the economy class causes less emissions. According to a World Bank study conducted in 2013, the business and first class air travel causes more emissions than the economy class. This is simply because these premium classes displace more economy seats. The study concluded that the carbon footprint of business class and first class are 3 times and 9 times higher than the economy class. So the question arises, what is being done to reduce the aviation emissions? Well, First of all, many scientists and companies are researching biofuel technology for use in jet aircraft engines. Some companies have also tried to combine regular petrofuels with a biofuel. For example, in 2008, Virgin Atlantic Airways flew a Boeing 747 from London to Amsterdam with one engine burning a combination of coconut oil and babasu oil. In December 2008, an Air New Zealand jet completed the world's first commercial aviation test flight, partially using Jatropha-based fuel. As you know, Jatropha is used for biodiesel and it can thrive on marginal agricultural lands where many trees and crops won't grow. Finally, in recent years, there have been efforts to test aircrafts on solar power. However, these efforts are on the aviation industry level. But can we individuals also do something at our level? And the answer is yes. Yes, we can do a whole lot of things. The simplest step we can take is to reduce unnecessary travel. Today, we have amazing people-to-people connectivity and tools like internet, email, WhatsApp, and Zoom. And all of these can help us avoid a whole lot of travel. In many countries, passengers are avoiding air travel. In Sweden and Germany, people are nowadays proud to say that they traveled by train rather than by air. In Sweden, the concept of flight shame has been cited as a cause of falling air travel. Swedish air company SJAB recently reported that twice as many Swedish people chose to travel by train instead of by air in 2019 when compared with the previous year. Swedish airports reported 4% fewer passengers across 10 airports in 2019 compared to the previous year. This translated into a 9% drop for domestic passengers and 2% for international passengers. On the contrary, in our country, many people often take a flight not because they want to reach somewhere urgently, but simply to signal their social and economic status to their friends and to their relatives. They travel by air to impress people around them. We must avoid doing this. We need to take all such small steps because while commercial flying contributes just 2.4% of all the global carbon emissions, the number will rise as more and more people continue to fly. So friends, this was a brief introduction to the environmental impact of the aviation industry. I hope that this will help you become a more responsible flyer in the future. In the next episode, we will discuss yet another topic important for our personal and professional growth. So please don't miss it. Until then, keep learning, keep sharpening your skills, and keep improving your life.